and black?
Yeah, definitely.
And you thought he was weird?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
What was weird about him?
Just the way he walked.
Did look over at him and he was kind of like that was his face.
Kind of just like, we should just go like for fun, just to see. We don't really care like about Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk's wife and maybe a kid or both of his kids were actually at the event today.
He changes clothing on the roof.
It sounds like the shooter was a tranny.
So he did have freckles on his face.
Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people who are close to him.
Your wife is not your employee.
We as the American people deserve to have every Epstein file released with no redaction
Make some
whatsoever.
noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Get right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
There was a guy like laying down with like a sniper.
Oh, there's somebody on the roof by there?
And I went up to the top and ironically was very close to where the shooter was.
Like, how did this guy know that he was going to be able to just get on the rooftop?
Right. And it's hilarious. I think this is the most corrupt presidency in U.S. history.
Yeah, President Trump's name was actually in the Epstein files going back to February.
And in that footage is your driveway, and you parked there at 11:30 a.m.
He's walking in front of my aunt's house there right now, and my cousin's house is the driveway that is taking that photo, and my CRV, the gray CRV in the distance there is my car. I parked there probably 10 minutes before he walked by.
We should impanel a grand jury, and every person involved in the Epstein child sex trafficking should go to federal prison for the rest of their life.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Oh my God.
That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
There are conspiracy theories about your personal social life. All day.
The FBI says the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories are legit.
It's a very dark story that involves these donors, sponsors, influencers, a takeover of sorts that I think was happening right under Charlie's nose.
See anything that looks like a gun in his pants. We don't see it. Where is the gun, according to the FBI?
Cash said that they found his, what we presume was his screwdriver on the top of the building.
Girls, very goth, very black.
We don't see anything there.
I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be
a
retired detective.
Haven't seen that before.
All these people fleeing for their lives. And she says, go F yourselves.
I saw Charlie Kirk get shot.
This guy's not trans, but he's into furry culture and he's dating a trans person.
Tyler Robinson is or was suicidal. That is not true. And that's a very scary thing.
Left side of his neck, down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Jeff, we're not doing it.
Get off me! Get off me!
The evildoers
Running high right now.
responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
Hello. Welcome. Considering the numbers on this video, I feel like maybe this subject is not something we're allowed to talk about in our country anymore. So, I don't know. You know, maybe we live in a free country, but it doesn't seem like it. The whole entire Charlie Kirk thing is just layers of BS that, you know, nobody really can make sense of. Was this a lone gunman? That's what they want you to believe, but it doesn't seem like it's supported by the evidence. You know, Lee Harvey Oswald, they wanted you to believe that was a lone gunman as well. And people were studying that, right? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't alive during that, but I wonder if all of JFK's friends covered it up. You know, if they acted the same way, or if there were people that were genuinely looking for the truth. I don't know. And it's something I kind of want to look into. But in this case, it does seem like, I don't think a lot of people know what the real answer is. I think that people are worried about what the real answer might be. I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of the scrambling is, you know, we don't know what was going on. But if this was a lone gunman, it would be very easy to, you know, his probable cause, they wouldn't need to make up text messages, right? I mean, I think those text messages are patently false. And it's just like the John Benet Ramsey ransom note. Like, you cannot get past that fake note and look at the case. Like, if you want to think there's an intruder, if you want to think this and that, you come back to that note, and that note is fake. And people do not sit and write a fake ass note if they're not guilty. I don't know what the deal is. Like, I've heard a lot of different theories about the politics in Utah, and it's not what we think. It's not really left versus right like it is everywhere else. In Utah, it's more about right versus right. And that's the Reagan caucus. The Reagan caucus were conservatives that wanted to put common sense and put, you know, treat people with respect. They didn't like the populist message of MAGA, and that's kind of what, you know, the differences were between Governor Cox, I think it's Spencer Cox, and Phil Lyman was his opponent. I think, you know, there's something weird there, because I was looking at Phil Lyman's he made a post that like went viral on X responding to Candace Owens' accusations. And, you know, from my perspective, I think that I don't see that he's guilty of anything. I think that he is, you know, it's his family owns the whole street. They own all the houses on the street where the shooter was. I don't understand. I mean, I can completely understand why he would be defensive. I think that his nephew went out and filmed the walk from the university into his grandmother's backyard. I don't think people would be doing that kind of thing if they were guilty of anything. I think they're trying to find the truth just like anybody else. You know, and I think he's been pretty open. He's been on a lot of news shows. We can look at one of his clips. I think he has more information that we do. And I think that, you know, he has valid points, valid questions. So let's see if I can find his interview.
We've got video. He came off the roof. He came up here to the parking lot, got in the car with an individual, and they drove away. Well, that's not the story that came, so that he escaped another route. And there are people who are coordinating this thing. I do not believe that 30-06 that they showed recovered in the bushes was ever on the roof. I think it was in the bushes to start with. And now I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't on the roof. I'm not saying he didn't pull a trigger. I know I was in very, very close proximity. So another interesting thing, like I say, I left the front of the stage. I wanted to meet some of my friends and bring them down front. So I was clear at the east end, and I heard this loud boom. I heard this loud bang. And I turned around and I'm looking like, what was that? What was that? And pretty soon some people started, you know, running. Everyone was trying to process. And I thought, this is a gunshot, and there's going to be more of them. I thought it could turn into a mass shooting.
So the interesting thing here is we've seen his video. He did not think it was a mass shooting. He was inside and he started recording and walked outside. So if he thought it was a mass shooting, he wouldn't have walked towards the gunfire and recorded, right? So I don't know about that statement. But he goes on to say that there were two goth girls that were very suspicious.
So I go to the people closest to me. Everyone's ducking down behind the concrete retaining walls, and some of them were still kind of oblivious, but there were two people that were standing there. Two girls, very goth, very black, you know, and I just walked, and I stepped up to the side of them, and I said, did that not happen right here? Did you hear that? Was that right here? They said, yeah, it was just right over there. So they're confirming, yeah, the shooter or wherever that sound came from is right here. The thing that didn't really dawn on me is that they were not running. They were not frightened. In fact,
well, we got to remember, he was also not running. He also was not frightened. He was walking towards it with a recording on his phone. So it's kind of strange that he wants to point this out.
As I stepped up, I heard one of the girls, and and they were talking to each other, and they're looking at these kids, looking at the scene down below them of all these people fleeing for their lives. And she says, "Go F yourselves." Like I say, I was not processing that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I thought this is a separate conversation. I don't know what it is.
So I think the main point, or the biggest part of this, is he's saying that in the video where the suspect jumps off the roof, he sees them get into a car with somebody. Like, that's, now he could be making that up so that the suspect isn't walking into the neighborhood where his family owns all the houses, right? But if he obviously saw the video with other people, with FBI or whoever, because he ran for governor and he lost, but he still has these connections. So he potentially did see the full video. We see the video of the shooter jump off the roof and then walk up to the street and then stop. He doesn't get in a car, but he also doesn't run across the street. So maybe someone does pick him up, and maybe that's what he's talking about. I just don't see a reason why he would make that up, knowing that the video eventually is going to be seen. Well, you would hope anyway. But then if that's the case, then why were they searching all those backyards across the street? I have a feeling that the only explanation would be that there were multiple, potentially people on roofs or just suspects in general, fleeing that school, decoys. And this was an organized thing. And that's why they would be searching the perimeter. But the problem is that weapon that they found, the 30-06, the rifle, nobody believes that it's possible that was the weapon used. And that is the weapon that is tied to Tyler Robinson, because Tyler Robinson doesn't have, those still images of the suspect in the school. I mean, I can't make heads or tails of it. I can't tell if that's him. So if they don't have phone data showing that like his steps were following this person, if they don't have any DNA or any evidence that he was on the roof, and they only have his DNA on this rifle that was found in the backyard of this guy, Phil Lyman's aunt's house in a bush, and the suspect never runs into those woods, I don't understand how they're going to prosecute him or what they're even doing. Are they just holding him to get everyone to calm down, and so that they can investigate? Maybe, but like, I've never seen charges brought that, rely on fake ass text messages like this. So I really don't know what the hell to even think. If we look at, this is Phil Lyman's response to Candace Owens, and I just find this super peculiar. Entire screen, yes. All right, so he basically went through her video step by step, and kind of like, he really didn't refute too much. Basically was just saying like, your investigative skills are nonsense. I think that she does go down a lot of dead ends, but at the same time, she is debunking things. And I mean, I think that's what I try to do when I find conspiracies. I try to debunk things. So this is what we're seeing now, is his video that he took. So see how scared he is? He's walking towards the gunfire. And those were the two goth girls that he just was talking about. So the interesting thing is, someone posted, this is like the top one. It says, any insight into Mr. Zinn's motivations on September 10th? It looks like George Zinn right here. And this is a Lyman, Lyman supporters. So he was running for governor in the primary against Spencer Cox. Spencer Cox is the Reagan caucus, so he's the, not the populist Republican like Donald Trump. He is like old school Reagan Republican. And so Spencer Cox is the one that won. This guy lost, and this guy is more aligned with Trump and Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was friends with this guy. I don't know what the relationship is with the actual governor, Spencer Cox, but so someone wrote this, like, why was he there? And then he says, maybe Spencer Cox does. Like, so George Zinn, if you guys don't know, he's the old man that like stood up and said, I did it, now shoot me. And this is him supporting Phil Lyman. But then he wrote in a post from 2020 that Phil Lyman pulled up. I just don't think this is normal politician behavior. Like, someone was killed. So to like make light of it and be like, oh, well, Spencer Cox got an endorsement by him too. Like, it's weird to me. I just think it's very strange. And so it gets even weirder. So on Phil Lyman's for governor, his whatever campaign site, at the bottom, there's endorsements. Let's see if he got rid of it yet. There's only 20 people here. Oh, there it is. George Zinn. Rare to find a more caring man with uncompromising goals to make Utah great for generations than Phil Lyman, not a politician who can be pampered. Phil has a knowledge of urban and rural Utah from every corner and community. Utah is in desperate need of true leadership and representation, and Phil has the passion and values to be a great governor. He needs our support. George Zinn. I mean, so George Zinn supports Phil Lyman. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me why this guy, George Zinn, who's very involved in politics, obviously, would jump up and say, I did it, now shoot me. But it's funny that like he only has 20 endorsements and one of them is that guy. It's just so strange. So during his run for governor, he got into like a tiff with another person with the last name Lyman, no relation, but because both their names were going to be on the write-in ballot, because they both lost the primary, but they both wanted to be the write-in candidate. He launched a lawsuit on the other Lyman, so the other Lyman dropped out, and whatever. He was the write-in candidate, still didn't win. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about this guy. I mean, I think that he's being honest, like he's getting on the news, but I do find it odd that he's gonna try to like say, well, Spencer Cox loves trans people. He said something like that too. I don't know what to think of that. It's strange. I mean, it is very strange. Let's see. What else do I have to look at? We have to look at, he did a few interviews. I don't know if there's any other ones that are really, I guess this guy, so the whole narrative was that Tyler Robinson's mom recognized him from the photo on campus, and that is what precipitated him turning himself in. So she called him. She told the dad, like, I think it looks like Tyler. They called Tyler, asked him for a picture of the rifle, and then they brought him in. But that's not what they're telling people. So, and they haven't said anything publicly. I think they're in witness protection, to be honest, which is another very strange thing. And that's why I think there's something else underlying going on that we don't know about. There's also there's the Republican or the Reagan caucus, but then there's also a rift between the Church of Latter-day Saints and evangelical Christians. And that rift, I think around 2020, they kind of came together because they realized, we want the same things, but they don't like the populist message. They don't like certain aspects. They don't want their kids converted to evangelical Christians. They want them to stay in the Church of Latter-day Saints. So Charlie Kirk going there and recruiting, could upset people in the church. And there's been a long history, if you trace back any of these people's families' histories, there's a lot of violence between either coming both ways towards people that worship at the Church of Latter-day Saints. I think this guy, Phil Lyman, his great-grandfather or something was killed by like a musket ball or something. I think his name was Hyman or something, but I don't know. I was reading all about this, and it's crazy because generations of people stay there. So like his whole family owns that street. His family owns where the UVU campus was. Like that was his grandfather's farm. There was like nothing there, and so people stayed generation after generation. And most people in Utah are cousins with somebody, or a distant cousin with somebody, because people don't really move out of there. They stay there and continue to grow their families. And so there's another, what is it called? The Mountain Meadows Massacre. That's so complicated. I could talk about that probably for an hour, but I will just say that the Mountain Meadows Massacre is something from that area that happened, probably 4 or 5 generations ago, that nobody was really held accountable for. 120 people were slaughtered. And I think it was people in a caravan that were passing through. And then there was like a Mormon militia that confronted them. They made them feel like they were safe. I think they waved a white flag and said you were safe. They brought them down somewhere and they slaughtered everyone, all of the older children and the adults. I think it was 120 people in total that were killed. And then there was 19 young children left, and the families in the area just took them in and raised them. I think it took 20 years before any charges were brought, because I think it was around the time of the Civil War. And only one person was ever successfully convicted. But they're descendants. There's a rift. There's tensions. And so that might be why people were scrambling. That might be why people, not necessarily trying to cover up, but like they just want it to be, something else. For all we know, Tyler could have been talking to his family about, Charlie Kirk's message being too, different from what they believe. And, that could have been the conversation. And they twisted it into like, he was saying like hate. Who knows? But I think there's just a lot of motivation to make it a lone gunman, right? Like there's a lot of motivation for people to want to just sweep this under the rug and say it's closed. The governor, Spencer Cox himself, he went on 60 Minutes on Sunday. I watched it. He's all about bringing people together. He wants people to get along. He doesn't like the divisive nature of current politics at all. He seems like a nice guy. But a lot of people in the comments like really don't like him and really feel like he could have had something to do with it, which I think is, from my perspective, I think it's crazy. But I don't know. I don't live there. I don't know the details. I don't know how, people really feel about him. But I do think it's very strange that people on the same side, the same party, are saying stuff like that about him. It just seems weird. Very, very weird. Something interesting that I also noticed is if we look at this is the meme that was on the casing to one of the bullets that were found. And so it's notices your bulge on the second side. It's just, this is what was on that casing. Notices your bulge. Oh, whoa, what's this? I just don't even know how they even fit all that. If you're like scratching it into it, like how you even fit all that. But what I didn't put it together originally until those casings came out a few days later that had like Sharpie written on them that said anti-ice, right? Then I went back and looked at this and listened to the prosecutor. So let's see how he pronounces notices. Like, I think they wanted him to say not ice instead of notice. And I'm just like, wow, that's just so scummy. Like, everyone's just trying to use this for their personal gain, it seems.
Cartridge was etched, notices bulge, OWO, what's this? The second.
Like, I think that any old man his age knows how to pronounce notices. So like notices, like what are you trying to say, dude? Like, I don't know. And I didn't catch it. I remember thinking he mispronounced it. I was like, he doesn't know how to read notices. But now, after seeing the Sharpie on the casing, I realized, oh, they want to like twist it into that. But like Utah is, I don't even know if there's any diversity there. So like, even if this kid was far left, like that wouldn't have been one of his issues. Like he's not living in a world where there's, an immigrant population. That definitely wouldn't have been his motivation. But I think that's what our administration would want, so that they could be harder on protesters, people that are fighting with ICE or whatever. I just thought that was, I don't know. It just makes me not trust anything that's coming out of these people, because what the hell is that anyway? But then, so Candace Owens shared this photo. I guess it's from Lance's Instagram. And so this is Lance, the roommate, and then above is Tyler. And it's, it's interesting. Tyler's father didn't know that he was gay. Tyler had been telling his family that he was dating a girl and that he wanted them to meet her. And so I think that, Tyler was still trying to follow the whole Mormon lifestyle, but he just needed to transition his friend, which is, it's sad, but it also makes you question, like, what really was that motivation? Like, was it could be because of anti-trans rhetoric. Absolutely. But I don't know if they were just going to keep it a secret. Who knows? But I find it interesting, very interesting, because I did question whether the roommate really was trans. I really can't tell from that, but like the hair, yes, does look. But I just questioned it because like people were saying it right away, and a lot of the recent shootings, they've been saying that right away, and I just didn't know if they want that to be the case, so that they can say, oh, it's the left and that's the problem and whatever. But I don't know. But this is Lance. Let's see if this comes out good. This is Lance from, another thing about Lance. So Candace Owens talked to his family, and they say he's evil and he's this and that and blah, 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 blah. That's the only side that Candace Owens has really talked about for Lance. But there was an article that came out where people, his friends, were refuting that, saying that it wasn't Lance that was bad. He was like a really good kid. He was like, I don't even know, some highly ranked pianist, and he got straight A's in school, and he didn't do alcohol or drugs, and like he was just really a nice kid. But his family was like religious zealots, and they kicked him out and wanted him to get exorcisms, and that's why he ended up couch surfing. So I I don't know what to make of it. I mean, that's just two drastically different narratives. But the family in that same article, there were family that was like, he's always hated us. He hates Republicans. And like, I don't know. I just feel like, would you really be saying that about your niece or nephew? Unless you just had like a disdain for them in general. Because in a situation like this, like, I think that I would probably be supporting a family member, especially if we don't have the facts. But to come out and say something like that at a time like this, it's pretty vile. So like, I wouldn't take much from a family member that would say something like that, because the kid's already getting threats and everything else. But to like add fuel to the fire like that, it's unbelievable. So I wouldn't really put much stock in that family member, because that's the one that's speaking up. Who knows? It could just be a distant relative. Like in Utah, everyone is close to family. Like families are like huge families. They all stay in the same area. So like, there's just a lot of family members. Who knows? But this is Lance at his piano recital.
My name is Lance Twitz. I am playing country concerto for young pianists, and I like piano because it gives me something other than playing video games to do with my fingers.
So, I mean, the friend seems like they were giving a more accurate description than the family. And he's a little young there, but I mean, these kids were only, what, 21, 22? So this is probably just a couple of years ago. And to think that that's the age that they were trying to give him an exorcism and kick him out of the house, like, you know, it's a little weird. You know. And then we have I don't even know what category to put them in, but people that are testing the ballistics. I find it interesting. I don't know anything about rifles, about hunting. I've only ever used handguns. So like, and I've never like tried to figure out like how much something's gonna, you know, but these people did, and I find it really interesting. So the rifle that they found was a 30-06.
Yeah, that's a little different. Okay.
Maybe I did miss.
And so they were doing this at the same distance that he was on the roof from the shooter, using the same round and shooting at I don't even know, a cow femur or something.
All right, so let's see the damage. It's literally in pieces. So here you go. Where Brian hit that directly in the center. Literally exploded that cow femur in half. Blew straight through. Cow femur. 30-06 round. Now think about a human neck. Okay, but we're going to up the ante even more. Now, we're not only going to take a cow femur, but for anybody that says, wow, there's no meat, we're going to slap on a fat 4 inches of beef in front of the cow femur and see what happens.
I'm going to give him thick skin like Nate.
All right, last test on the meat. Again, cow femur, bunch of beef, thick tape, and then we're going to move up to the steel. Here we go. Well, we can't. Everything exploded. All right, let's check it out.
Now, that is not what it looked like at all when Charlie Kirk got shot. It was a very small wound, and they're claiming that the bullet just stayed inside.
All right, so let's take a look at the crime scene. As you see, the entire thing exploded on us. The camera got knocked down, flew through this, as you can see. All right, here we go. Here's our cow femur. The damage to that. Literally snapped in half, and then our neck that we built, that was nice, solid, thick, 4 or 5 inches of meat, absolutely obliterated. So, yeah. So yeah, next we're gonna test the steel theory. So we're gonna actually shoot steel and see what happens. All right, guys, now we're gonna test.
So the reason that they're testing steel is because they, the doctor, or was it the surgeon? I mean, the whole thing is so sketchy. So TP USA made a statement saying, I talked to the surgeon, and the surgeon said that, you know, it's a miracle that the bullet didn't go through. That bullet should have went right through, but he has a neck of steel. He's the man of steel. And that's why the bullet stopped, right?
Literal steel, 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch steel. Let's see what it can do. Nope. You hit it? All right, so let's check out what 30-06 did to literal steel here. We have our, and thank God we got an actual competition shooter here to hit this 2-inch by 2-inch plate from 100 yards, which I probably wouldn't have been able to. Clean through 1/4 inch steel, clean through 3/8 inch steel, and 1/2 inch steel almost, or actually it potentially did actually blow out the side of that. So, guys, final thoughts. Literally nothing we brought out here today could stop a 30-06 round. Literal steel can't stop a 30-06 round. So actually, the whole man of steel argument doesn't even make sense, does it? So, we just wanted to bring this one to you guys, show you what a 30-06 round can really do, and so we can sort of kind of stop the confusion about if this was possible or not. And hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll catch you in the next one.
So not possible. It's not possible to just stop in a soft snack. J-Pup is freaking out right now because they do not want anyone questioning the narrative. And that's what I don't understand about this case. It's like people are like, oh no, it must just be what they say. But why are they acting so weird? None of the behavior of any of these people is normal. The wife is excited about the money that she has now. I mean, what? The funeral was batshit crazy. What is there to question? Maybe you need to watch my last video. So there's a shit ton to question. They provided a document, a charging document that was filled with made up text messages. All they had to do was present actual real evidence and nobody would have questioned anything. But they created text messages that are clearly fake, that make absolutely no sense. And that's what they used to charge him. All they had to do was say, you know, we have his phone data. We know his car was here. The text messages are not real. Like, they're not. They're just not. Go read through them. I mean, if you can't tell that those are fake, I don't know what to tell you. Because it's a narrative. It's literally a script. Like, when you text somebody back and forth, you don't need to give them background, but all of those texts were giving the entire background. He's talking to his boyfriend, but he has to explain, oh, well, my dad is really MAGA ever since Trump got elected. Like, it's bullshit. Like, anyone that believes those texts, like, you're out of here. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Nothing. It's not going to come out in court. All right. No. So the texts are just a fake thing. It would be very, very easy to get probable cause in this case. There's cameras all over town, right? There's cameras all over town, but they couldn't show his Challenger getting there, going to the Dairy Queen, coming back. They don't have anything. They don't have anything. Like, they don't have his phone even showing that he was, I mean, I don't know. Like, Cash came out and said, like, oh, we have phones, we know where everyone is, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know that. I follow cases all the time. I was expecting that. And that would have erased all doubt. But they didn't have that. they had to make up fake text messages, which is just beyond. And then the whole story about his parents, you know, I can't say with certainty that it's not true, that the narrative about his mom and everything, but I just don't believe it because those pictures were not clear. They don't even look like him. So my opinion, and I think that, you know, I don't think that like the feds were in on it. I don't think anything like that, but I think that they want it to be a lone gunman so that whatever happened doesn't need to like come out publicly. There's no chance in hell. I mean, it could be Tyler, but I'm just saying what they've put out is not valid. Like, they fabricated evidence. What about the screwdriver on the roof? Whatever happened to that? They don't want us to know. I'm not saying that Tyler didn't have a part in it, but I honestly think that there's other people on the roof, on different roofs. I think there was a lot of people fleeing from the scene. And I think that that's exactly what I will never, just like the John Benet Ramsey ransom note, I can't get past it. You can't get past a made up note. That's how you know it's fake. So it's like, you can't, those text messages are fake. Let's just look at one. Let's look at one real quick, just to understand why it's not real. Killed someone, right? And he just confessed to his boyfriend, and his boyfriend is not even asking any questions. He has no qualms, no curiosity. If he had been stewing about Charlie Kirk for years and years and years, he would not question, why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. No, he would already know. He would already exactly know. So it's not that. And he's been planning it a bit over a week. He never even went to UVU. He was never on that campus. So it's just, I mean, why do you think he's a psycho? I mean, he's he was very high IQ. Yeah, the whole text, I mean, I just think it's just so blatantly obvious. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. His boyfriend would not need to know that. If they were boyfriends, they would know what the memes are. He would say, I did the meme of notice his bulge. That's all you would have to say. But he's like trying to like educate the audience, which is us, about what's on the bullets. He's not talking to someone with familiarity. It is blatantly obvious. Like, there's no way in hell. Like, all he would say is, I want to see someone say notice his bulge on on Fox News. It'll be hilarious. And no kid is saying I might have a stroke either. That's like where I changed outfits, I left it in a bush. But like, the thing is, have you seen the map of the area? Like, there's no way that he would have walked up over there to leave it in a bush. Even Lyman himself says that he thinks that the rifle was always there in the bush. That bullet will go through steel. It's not going to just stop in his neck. Like, that was like I mean, if anything, it was like a handgun bullet, I think. But it looked like, someone said it looks like a flechette, which, I mean, maybe it was a flechette. And the flechette is like a little dart thing that they use in, I mean, I think that, I'm not even going to say it, but some militaries use it. So I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that these texts are not, there's no familiarity there. It's just very obvious that this was scripted. So it doesn't, it's just not real. It's not real. And like, nobody believes it. I thought it seemed odd because Tyler is immature and his boyfriend didn't believe him at first. I mean, I think that if anything, it would be the boyfriend that's more immature. Like Tyler, was getting through college, and the boyfriend was the one that was, I mean, I don't know what the boyfriend did for work, but he was the one that was wearing like furry hoods and stuff. I don't even think that they're really furries though. Okay, J-Pup, he just does not like when people don't just follow the narrative, and that's fine. I mean, if people during the JFK assassination were automatically like, yep, it's just a lone gunman. Yep, nobody else was involved. We laugh at those people now. So good luck with that. Yeah, no timestamps. Like that's the stuff that I was expecting, because in most cases you have to place the person at the scene of the crime. That's number one. So very easy to do with a tower data dump. They could just say, they don't even have to have his GPS coordinates. They could just say, we know that he got into that town at 7 a.m. because of the tower data. We know that he left at this time because of the tower data. We know that he connected to this tower at this time, so he was back home. That's all they had to show. And they definitely have that information. So I think it just didn't align with the crime, and that's why they didn't put it in there. That's why they had to create fake text messages. There's no reason in the world to create fake text messages unless you don't have the evidence, because now that's like baked into his probable cause, and like it's going to be very easy to get the charges thrown out. Trying to see who else. And then Erica Kirk. I mean, her behavior and just Turning Point USA behavior in general is strange. Nobody seems upset. It seems like they're all ready for it. And that's why, like, when I think of the different alternatives, so Candace Owens is saying a foreign government's military operation, potentially. And I could see that. I guess there is a lot of CIA connections in Utah, I think, with that university. And, there's a lot there. But at the same time, I don't think it was like an unknown operation because of the way that, Turning Point just turned over to the wife, and the wife seems so happy at his funeral. And then she's like, oh yeah, we have content. I'm so excited about the future. Like, what in the world? Right. A plate reader of his car, easily could have seen his car going around there. I mean, we see a glimpse of his car that was released on TMZ. And like the whole fact that like certain things were getting leaked to TMZ right from the beginning, that's the feds. It's either the feds or a defense attorney. He doesn't have a defense attorney, so it was the feds. Because nobody is just going to reach out to something like TMZ unless they want a certain narrative out in the media. And so I feel like that's just a given. I'm trying to think of what, there was something else that I had. But yeah, Phil Lyman's comments, I mean, I don't know what the deal is with him. There's also, oh, there it is. Oh yeah, this guy. So this whole thing is strange to me too. So this guy,
received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general.
So this guy basically is the one that brought Tyler Robinson in. And so he's saying a friend of mine that was a detective brought him in. So Tyler Robinson's family allegedly is saying that no, they did not turn him in. They didn't know anything about this. They don't think the picture looks like him. They don't think he was on the roof. And I mean, that's pretty shocking, right? So the story is that it was actually this friend, Mike Mitchell. And after like researching him a little bit, you know, usually it's very easy to like find police officers because they're always doing different cases, whatever. But this guy was super hard to find. The only article that I could find was about how he helped a mom pretend to be her son to catch a pedophile. And so it seems like this guy, Mike Mitchell, is, you know, potentially, or part of his job, maybe not ever, he was undercover, but potentially he was in chat rooms trying to entice pedophiles. And so that leads me to the thought that, you know, the original statement that came out was that from the roommate was that Tyler made a joke on Discord, right? And we know what that joke was. The joke was basically, oh, my doppelganger did it. And then one of his friends said something like, Tyler killed Charlie, laugh out loud. And, you know, what if that joke was what did it for him? What if then this friend, I guess he was his Boy Scout leader, but also to catch a predator, pedophile goater, I don't know, saw this message, and then that's how he came on to Tyler. But it could also be that this guy's also in these chat rooms all the time and knew that Tyler was gay, knew that Tyler was dating a trans person. Like, there's just, it's very unclear. It doesn't make any sense that, you know, we had this family friend that came and like brought him in with the parents, and the parents now are saying like, no, we never thought it was him. And it's all very strange. But I completely understand why people would want to button this up and sweep it under the rug, because it, you know, it's going to cause tension between the Church of Latter-day Saints and the evangelicals. They don't want that. It could cause a rift, which already clearly exists based on Phil Lyman's comments, between the Reagan caucus and the MAGA Republicans in Utah. I mean, those two alternatives make less sense to me because just because of the way that everything at TPUSA has been handled. They seem all happy about it. Like, and I honestly ponder the thought, like, maybe he wasn't really killed, and this was a way to get him out of the business, out of his marriage. Like, I don't know. But I just think that the way, because we do see his body react, but you know, it could be all staged. Who knows? And if you think about what happened with the whole Israel Hamas thing, where Israel was live streaming when Hamas invaded for, you know, 6 hours or something, that precipitated everyone giving the government more power and saying, you need to take care of this, right? So could something like this be a way that our government could then take more power and say, this is to combat this? Potentially. I just don't think that anyone acted in a way that they knew what was going to happen. At all. I don't think that, you know, because if it was planned, I think that they would have had the patsy ready and arrested right away. I think they had to like figure out who was going to be the patsy in this case. I think they, you know, Candace Owens is saying a foreign military operation. I mean, the military operation does, that's what I first thought. Like, I thought that was a Navy SEAL jumping off the roof. Like, that was what came to my mind. is like, who is gonna like jump off the roof like that and risk breaking your ankle on the way down and getting caught, right? Unless you knew you could do it. And Tyler's never been over there. He lives 3.5 hours away. Like, he didn't go to that school. He went to like a different school. So, and how does he know the local backyards to run through? How does he know, how to get through those yards? And wouldn't people have noticed him doing trial runs prior to that? The text messages make no sense. Yes, glad the trial will be public if he makes it to trial. I mean, I really, I'm hoping that the FBI is actually investigating and is going to come out with something, because Cash did say, he doesn't necessarily agree with what the state did and says that he's investigating all these other leads. But I find it like so suspect. Oh, that was another one. Let me find this. There's like they were trying to get him. This is like unbelievable to me. Oh, did I not clip it? Maybe I didn't. I think I did though. Is it this? So they were trying to make it so that they got to choose his defense attorney to kind of force a conviction.
For an advice, like what is this situation here? What can we do? They started screaming on the phone, and I was like, why do you even care? Like, you don't have a dog in this fight. Why are you so rude on the phone? So then I said, listen, there is a lawyer who's qualified, and he's actually very famous in New York, wants to represent this kid. All I need is a consent from Tyler Robinson to do so, and we think that you can help. To this, I got a very rude response that only SCORDIS is allowed to find a representation for Tyler Robinson. So SCORDIS is a guy who's running as a state prosecutor. So here's the problem with that. State prosecutor cannot be responsible to find a lawyer for a defendant. That's illegal. So
Right, that they're choosing their own opponent.
yeah, that's what it seems
And this
like.
is something.
It's crazy. It is crazy. I mean, it is crazy if you are Tyler Robinson and you're in that situation. I don't even know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I was ever in that situation, I would be, if I could, I don't know if you're allowed to, I would be speaking out. I would be, vocal. And I think that if a patsy ever is going to be chosen, they're not going to get someone that is vocal. Like even if Brian Kohlberger, for instance, was innocent and he was, doing all these, like able to speak. I don't know if they are, or if the defense just says you shouldn't speak. But if I was in that situation, I would be speaking all that I possibly could. Because I think it makes it, it humanizes the person when you just see them in a room. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Like they said, they had voluminous evidence, and all of the people that are like, just accept the narrative, there's voluminous evidence. It doesn't mean that they ever tied him to the scene of the crime. It means voluminous evidence because there's 1,000 people that have a cell phone video of the shooting. It doesn't mean that they actually were able to tie him to the weapon that was used. They tied him to a 30-06 that would have blown his head off. And that's it. That's it. Like, they don't have him there. They don't have his movements. They have nothing unless there's other stuff. But if there was other stuff, they wouldn't have made it those fake text messages. So that's where we land with all this. I mean, I think Candace is going up a lot of, she's going into a lot of directions that I feel like, I kind of know it's a dead end. Not necessarily, but like, like the Lymans, I feel like she's treating them like they're the McCabe's, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's right. I mean, it was their property that had the camera and where the weapon was found, but it seems like they are being cooperative. Like they are. It seems like they are curious about what happened as well. Um, I don't. I don't know if anyone really believes the narrative. Like the Lymans clearly don't, because he's saying, "Look into Spencer Cox." And I mean, that guy George Zinn being there trying to say, I'm the one that did it. Like, what? There were social posts of people kind of threatening Charlie. I remember that. But I just think that that comes with the territory. I remember like when Ben Shapiro used to go to colleges, the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to streamline it. Like, I don't want to like talk about like, where is it, that kid's face? There's like a kid. Oh, I think I have him on the cover. But so there was one kid that was with Phil Lyman's cousin or nephew or something. And she like did face recognition, and it found out that he was like at a goth prom or something. And I don't know. She's trying to say that he's like from Russia or something, I think. But I'm just like, these people would not be in taking pictures at the crime scene. I mean, you never know, but realistically, no, they're not. They would be far away from there. They wouldn't want anything to do with this. They wouldn't be pushing a narrative either way. They would probably just be observing, like how Brian Koberger was. He didn't ever want to comment on it. And then the girl. So there's allegedly, the girl thing just does not. I don't know. The girl thing just doesn't make any sense to me, so I don't even like to bring it up. But apparently someone told Candace Owens that there was a girl with, I mean, I guess that's Tyler, I don't know, with the suspect as he changed in the woods or something. But would that girl be potentially the roommate? And like, if that's the case, why would they just let him go? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, because clearly they would, like, a girl, like, what do you mean? Like a woman, a young girl, like what? But I've followed a lot of cases like this, and like the Idaho 4 case, there was a million people that were like, oh, I saw the roommates like hanging out in the morning, smoking cigarettes and drinking. They weren't scared. They weren't sleeping. And it was lies. Like, people in high profile cases make shit up and make up conspiracy theories. And I'm here to like try to debunk the conspiracy theories that I think are BS. I mean, I can't stop thinking about just the way that Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk have handled this. And that's the part that makes me uncomfortable the most. Like, people knew it was going to happen. And like, he's basically being, this was his company. He was basically being replaced by someone. They're not going to bring in someone right away, but I think my expectation is that, Erica Kirk's going to be CEO. They're going to try to figure out some things, and then they're going to put someone else in his place. And maybe it was because of the communication about, his position on Israel and Hamas. Like, I don't know. I did read his letter, and his letter to me is both sides have a very different interpretation of that letter. And maybe that's something I should go over in the next one. But my overall impression of it was that he was basically saying, like, you should do your own social media campaign. If you want to change people's minds, like, you should have your own people do it. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Basically saying, like, do it yourself. I mean, that's the overall impression I got from that, is that he was kind of putting his foot down and saying things aren't going to go that way this time. And I don't know. but nobody seems sad about it. People on social media seem sad about it, on the left and the right. But like all of the people closest to him, nobody seems sad about it. People like Tucker Carlson saying, "Oh, just kill him," and laughing. Like, what? I don't know. Yeah, Turning Point USA. I mean, I am Turning Point USA. I feel really odd about it. I feel like I listen to Charlie Kirk. You know, I understand where he's coming from, and I think that he was being true and honest. Like, that's how he feels about things. That's how, you know, his idea of a world. He thinks that things should be a certain way, like a conservative way, which I think is fine. People can think that. I don't think he wanted a theocracy. I mean, I think that his values are just conservative values. Like, didn't see where he like went crazy. Like sometimes when he was arguing and making points, like he probably used some bad examples, but like overall, I think he genuinely believed what he was saying and he had passion about it. And, you know, I could see that people would fear that he was coming to influence or steal people from one church to another, or, you know, but overall, I think that he, you know, debated to, and he believed what he was saying. So I just think, I don't know. I think he was humble somewhat. I mean, there's certain things where there's one, I'll show you this one, where I kind of feel like the messaging is, especially now, is strange. But I was listening to this because I'm just like, what the hell?
And expect that you're going to.
And men, just figure out ways to make more money. I don't want to say it's not that hard, but if you work hard and apply yourself and obsess, you can make more money and you will be more
But like you
attractive to women.
say, stop spending money on alcohol, stop
Of
playing
course.
video games.
Invest in yourself, learn more, you know, be scrappier. I don't want to say it's easy because it's not necessarily easy.
Right.
But it's easy to not be poor if you are a man.
If you're a man. I mean, my whole thing from this, it's sad because I do think he believes what he's saying. But at the same time, is the best message in the world that you just need to make more money so that you can get hotter chicks? Like, what? And look where it got him. Like, it got him, like, he made more money. He got a girl that, you know, was Miss Arizona somehow. But then at his funeral, did anyone care? You know, like, I don't know. It's sad. It's sad that they thought like that. And then Erica, I just don't really believe her because she used to say, you know, she was Miss America. She had her own like charity. And then she became like, oh, you just need to be like a traditional wife and stay at home. But that was not her life. It's never been her life. What, for 3 years when she had like a couple of kids? That's the only time that it's been her life. And so for that to be her like rhetoric all the time when she was on the Charlie Kirk show, it's so fake. I don't know. And she just seems so happy now. It's I don't know. Nothing about this case rubs me the right way. But we'll see. I mean, I'm expecting the FBI to put out a statement soon, either saying, you know, the investigation's closed, or we're gonna file charges against Tyler Robinson, or something else, which would be pretty shocking, to be honest. But these guys like Dan Bollinger and Kash Patel, they were always complaining about corruption. They believed it, and now they might be in a position where they can't do anything about it because of the powers that be, which is an awful situation to be in. But maybe they're going to do the right thing. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But so as far as like hateful and racist, I mean, I think he definitely said things that could be categorized that way. But I also want to give people grace. You know, like I don't even know where he came from. But I like if someone that grew up in Utah, like they are not going to have the capacity to understand complex issues about race, or even about trans and gay if you live in a rural white place like that. But I don't know where Charlie Kirk even grew up. But I mean, because I do have conversations with people that came from a different background. I grew up in a more urban area. So like I was always exposed to a lot of different things, different religions, different everything. But I understand like people that don't really have that knowledge of what's going to offend people, or they don't care. But I always kind of cared. Like I didn't want to like, I never wanted to say anything that's going to hurt somebody or make them feel less than. And so I've always like listened to when people are confiding in me, because it might be later. I used to make a lot of jokes, inappropriate jokes, and think it's fine as long as everyone's laughing. But like I was really probably hurting people. And like I understand that now. And like if someone came to me and was like, you know, when you said this, blah, 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 like I would genuinely be sorry and make an effort never to like say something like that again. And so like I've evolved a lot, but I don't know. Some people just don't have that experience, or they don't really care. Oh yeah, I should see that. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think that I also think that Charlie Kirk got in too deep. Like his business got too big and there was too much at stake. And when he wouldn't go along with the narrative, I mean, I honestly think that's the most obvious from a motive perspective, is that he was representing people. People counted on him to represent certain views, to push out certain propaganda to the youth. And when he started to push back, this is what happened. And that's my opinion. That's kind of what happened. I think that he was trying to turn it around in the right way and trying to be true to himself. I think that that's what got him killed, and it's unfortunate. And I mean, I think we really need to look at money in politics, because this stuff should not be happening at all. Like people should not be being paid to influence people. And then Netanyahu just met with a bunch of influencers. He's going to own part of TikTok now, and he's going to be in charge of propaganda. Someone that's not even in our country. It's kind of fucking weird. But I don't know. I think we really need to separate ourselves from these billionaires. The left and the right needs to stand together and get these people out of power. I agree. Submit to your husband. And see, I don't know all of his positions, but no, you're reminding me. Yes, the civil rights thing. I've never heard his whole explanation about that. It's obviously like something that I'm like, well, obviously people should have civil rights, but I don't know what his argument is exactly. But all I know is, but that kind of rhetoric, I think he does represent people that believe stuff like that. So I think having that conversation with someone on the opposite side, I think is a healthy thing for our society. But yes, money in politics is the problem. We have so if you think Elon Musk financed Donald Trump, Larry Ellison, I think, is behind JD Vance. And now they are, Palantir is owned by the government. And that's why I'm like, is this just an experiment to see how we react? Because everyone really did react to that. We don't usually see stuff like that on our, it's usually blocked out, but for some reason we were allowed to see that. And you can still see it. It's like still not deleted. So they wanted us, I don't know if they wanted us, but it seems like they could have been testing to see how we react. I think the 50 million that they're going to invest in the autism research fund is to train the AI on how people can react, because it's about wearables. It's about the 50 million for autism. Like, they never spend money on stuff like that, but he wants to see how people respond. It's to train the AI. It's so that they can understand better about how you can activate, I don't even know what they're called, radicalize people and activate them. I think that they're watching us. They're seeing how we react. They're seeing what our spending habits. We're seeing, like, when this happens, how many people buy a gun. They've been looking at that for years, because anytime a tragedy, a gun violence thing happens, a lot of people buy guns. And so I think that they could be playing with us to some degree. I mean, if not now, they will be, because the people behind the scenes, Elon Musk. I mean, if you think about Alligator Alcatraz, like all the people that are in there, Elon Musk is, wants to test out his Neuralink. How many people, like, if you were an immigrant in the cage and Elon, if they're like, oh, sign this piece of paper and you'll get out, but you have to do Neuralink, people aren't even going to read the fine print. They're just going to sign their name on it. And Elon Musk is going to implant this Neuralink in them and see how it is to run people. I mean, I know that's what's going to happen. Like, there's no question about it. I don't know if it's happening yet, but we live in a time where these rich bastards don't give a shit about us. They do want to stir the left and the right hatred. And I think at this point in time, people are realizing that the problem is these billionaires. And they look at us like we're nothing. Like, look at the Epstein files. Like, who knows who's in them? But the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of important people in there. And I think that's taken so long to come out. Like, they want us fighting because it's about to come out. And I don't know. Just think about it. Think about what Epstein really was. It was someone that was, or I believe he was an intelligence agent, and he was, bringing people to his island so that he could get dirt on them and blackmail them about their underage encounters with women, or whatever. And I think that everyone was okay with it. Everyone allowed it. And that's why I don't have confidence that they're actually investigating the Charlie Kirk shooting either, because all those people with money will just go along with it. They'll just allow it because it works for them. They just want to keep us fighting and keep us poor, while they put Neuralink in our brain and start messing with us. They're going to see how we react to certain tragedies so that they know what to expect, or they know how reactive certain personality types are, because they know everything we do by our phones, and they know what your brain's doing next. So if we see a tragic thing on our phone, what does this person do? What does that person do? And I'm sure there's categories of people that do different things, like where I'm more of a reactive, I'm more of a dissenter. And I know that I'm probably on some list because I'm more questioning the narrative. I'm more likely to argue. And I think that that's what they're studying. Yeah, George Cullen was talking about this stuff decades ago. It's here now, though. The next 3 years, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. I mean, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that hopefully this administration, some of the stuff they're doing is going to be good for us. But I just know, especially the stuff with that other country, I just don't think that. I think that even Trump is bought out. I think that his position's paid for, and I don't even think he's allowed to like make his own decisions. Just how Charlie Kirk wasn't allowed to make his own decisions, and once he did, he was killed. I mean, I don't know. And these people are old though, so are they gonna like croak soon? Hopefully. I remember when people were concerned about the vaccine being a tracker, but yeah, we already have the cell phones. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about how to make myself not found, or like I'm starting to really think that I should do that, or I should have. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like we're not going to be able to speak freely. I feel like that's coming very soon. And without being able to speak about things, that is going to activate a lot of people to act out. But then not speaking and just, maybe we're just going to see all nice things on our phones. We're only going to see daisies and flowers, and maybe it will make society better. I don't know. I don't like the theocracy thing, and that's the part that scares me. Like, it does seem like that's the direction that certain people want, and Turning Point seems to have a lot more power now. And even the t-shirts that they're selling, it's like, oh, he didn't become a hero until he died. Like, are you people sick? Like, what? I know. So Alexa, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how we can do it. Like, but I really do think that these billionaires cannot be controlling our politicians anymore, especially the tech sector. I don't even know how can we even stop it. But it's like they cannot just be controlling our minds, which is exactly what they want. They know that that's how it works. And now they're going to be playing with us on TikTok, at least. I don't know about on the other ones, but like TikTok it's an experiment. I mean, we'll see what happens. But try to think for yourself. Like, step away from your phones, step away from technology, spend time with your family and your friends and your animals, and go walk in nature and get away from the technology at least for an hour or two every day. Try not to roll over in bed and scroll on your phone. Bill Gates, what the hell is a tech guy doing with food? These people are going to own everything at the end of this presidency, unless something happens. And like, sometimes I think that, natural disasters or whatever, it's a higher power trying to interfere with their plans, trying to save us. But I think if there is no intervention, everything is going to be owned by like 6 to 10 people in the world. And we're not going to have to say anymore. Unless, I don't know, unless we build like another society. I don't know how. But I don't know. I think that there's still some good people. Like, there's still some people that have good in them. And I'm hoping that they can break through. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, I always thought she was just such a provocateur and just so performative. But I think that she thought, like, her idea of what MAGA was is different than what this administration is. And I think she's starting to like see the light. And she put out a tweet the other day saying, just so you know, I am not suicidal. I'm not, wait, I think I have it. And I'm just like, what the hell? Which is just a crazy thing. So, I mean, if they are getting these kind of threats, It's like, why are we ignoring this? So I am not suicidal and one of the happiest, healthiest people you will meet. I have full faith in God and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. As a sinner, I am only saved through his grace and mercy. With that said, if something happens to me, I ask you all to find out which foreign government or powerful people would take heinous actions to stop the information from coming out. Not only about this issue, but because of the truth that I have been speaking, that people understand what I'm saying. I don't know if she's talking about Epstein or if she's talking about, I mean, the only thing she said about Israel, which I think everyone should agree on, is that Israel, we give them $380 billion a year. And their people have free college and free healthcare. And we don't. And we give them our tax dollars. Why? It's crazy. And yes, the Epstein files. And Charlie Kirk was pushing about the Epstein files too. So, I don't know. It's an interesting time. And I do feel like people are kind of uniting. I think that they want us to fight. And I think that some of these things are being pushed out to make us fight. But I think that the left and the right are starting to unite and starting to realize who our real enemies are. And that's a good thing. So with that, have a good night. And next time we will see what comes out of this case in the next week. I'm hoping for an FBI statement. But thanks guys for joining and have a good night.